Hello, Star Lovelies. It's a great time to be a soul. Today we're talking about
Happy 2025. Here we are with the January Star Powered Planner. How to be truly you to create huge opportunities. So, January comes in, and it comes in not with a big, huge blast. It still comes in as that pressurized power. That's like the underlying energy. We still have that Martial pullback. We've got Pluto opposing. We've got a lot of energies that don't feel really great. They're not that comfortable because the signature is the god of hell with Pluto and the god of war with Mars, and yet it's suppressed. So it feels like there's like this volcano bubbling beneath the surface. Before we explore that energy further, however, I want to talk about the sister offering that I have with this is that when I do these beautiful monthly looks at the energy for the month, I also do an article on my blog, and those are your monthly star powered planners. And so I want to just take a moment because it's the top of the year to remind you that A, they exist, and B, they're here for you to be able to bookmark so you can refer to it throughout the month. They're for you to, whether you like to go in and read all the things like you, wise strategist, adore doing, or whether you like to just, get your overall vibe like you like to do intuitive visionary or collaborative explorers, you should read the tip at the bottom and really create space for yourself. Ruling warriors, you know what? You're not even going to listen. You're not going to read. Just go ahead. Go to my website, hop on a call. You can totally do that. Creative superstars, you like to jump into the magical tools. And so the guide goes through all the tools and they're at the ready for you. And then for you, loving alchemist, I have this beautiful also partner with this energy that I have set up your Star Strategy Center that holds all the reels and all the star maps to success in this monthly planner, all the things that you'd want to refer to, and it's all in one place. So I just went through those intuitive success signatures. If you don't know what yours is, go ahead and take that 12-question quiz at yourstarmaptosuccess.com. Find out your signature because this gives you permission to be you. And that's what we want. We are literally in that Martial and in that Plutonian energy so that you become more brilliant. You can shine as you are unique and you are gorgeously setting yourself up for what truly matters for you, what your priorities are, how you want to show up for yourself. And for the next week and a half, so right at the beginning of January, we're still in that relational energy for that soul, collective soul destiny and that collective soul karma. One of the big star shifts that's happening in January is that we are shifting that collective soul karma from how we relate to ourselves and others to how we experience the world for ourselves and for others. So it's a little bit less relational that we're moving into on the 11th of January and much more about how we show up out in the world and how we show up for ourselves. And that's why I'm using those words right now as I'm talking about the energies because that's just where we're going. So we've got a handful of major star shifts that I'm going to talk about. Then we have weekly energies that I'm going to delve into a little bit. Then we have magical tools that will help and support us. And then we have the monthly tips by energetic signature. We don't want to forget we also have moon magic, right? So we have the full moon is going to be on the 13th. That next new moon is going to be on the 29th of January. And so all of the cosmos, these beautiful stars are conspiring for our success. And when we know how we relate to them, then we can know how to navigate with them. Because it's one thing for our minds to know the timing, and that's wonderful. That is great. It gives us calm and certainty. And it's only the first step. The true method of using the stars, as JP Morgan says, millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do. Well, he wasn't just talking about like, oh, I know the timing. He was talking about investing based on that. He was talking about following the trends. And actually, he was talking about leading those trends. And that's the energy I like to bring into any time I'm talking about the stars is how are we going to wear them? How are we going to use them to power ourselves up so that we are able to be as brilliant and as filled with our own potential as we possibly can be. And here in this new era, everything is uncharted. Like here we are at the top of the new year, and literally, I can't talk enough about how uncharted territory we are entering. Never before experienced, never before seen, never before known. We are just in this abyss. And so anything that we can do to calm our minds about knowing things is excellent. But again, it's only a first step because mind step isn't going to get us to the life that we want. It's a great start, but to get us to the life that we want to be going into our own energetics. We want to be fueling up our intentions. We want to be making manifest and creating the life that we desire. And so here we are talking about the cosmos, talking about those major shifts. We've got 2 major shifts that are happening, or actually 3 the first week. We've got this pressurized power between Mars and Pluto, which is what I started this conversation about. And it hits another exact point. The first exact point that it hit was on November 3rd. This next one is January 3rd, and the one after that is in April. So we have got another handful of months to go as we are sharpening ourselves. So I'm talking to people about like threading the needle. I'm talking to them about like grinding yourself down into the diamond. I'm talking to them about like being that like spear or that arrow, that sharpened point. That's this energy. And here we are once again, smack in the middle of it. Then we've got a beautiful supportive Martial energy that helps us achieve who we truly are and how we show up for ourselves. And that feels delicious. That reaches a point on January 5th. We've got another like super cuspy energy with Mars because Mars is still in that retrograde point. That's where that suppressive energy beneath the volcano I've been talking about. But he's falling back into Cancer. So he's going to be like a little bit of a bitch baby. He just hates Cancer. He doesn't like the sensitivity and the softness, and he feels like a victim there. So if you're noticing people getting a little whiny, if you're noticing people feeling like they can lash out and have like temper tantrums, this is why. And yet there's huge opportunity here because we go through another soul destiny shift, one of which we go through every 18 months, special podcast just on that, special blog article just on that. But for here during this January star-powered planner that I'm doing for you, just note the date. And note that we are moving from that how are we in relationship, which we've been doing for the last year and a half, to going how do we show up for ourselves and in the world. And that, it feels like a minor shift, but it's actually a major one because we're going to start owning ourselves in the how do we show up in a very practical daily way without becoming like a servant to our task list and falling into the naggy Virgo doubt. And how do we then be super creative and super generous and really imaginative and very intuitive, allowing ourselves to hold that discernment and show up for ourselves out in the world? That feels delicious. And then the final big star shift is Uranus has been retrograde since the summer, and Uranus is going to station direct at the very end of the month. When these outer planets go from the retrograde to direct, we want to note them, but yet they're so big and they take so long to do it. It's more for our minds than really the energetic shift. So like I said, I like to note them, but I don't really go into them unless they're star aspected by something else that's going to fuel our feelings in a different way. This one is with the next new moon on the 29th, but I'm going to talk about that under the guise of the new moon. So I've talked about that pressurized power that we have in that first week. I've talked about that Mars retrograde. I've touched on that soul collective and that soul destiny. If you want to go deeper, that's when you'd want to go to the article and bookmark it and really have that planner available to you. But I do want to touch on the weeks because that's important. So that first week we started off, it's technically December 30th, going to January 5th. You know, it started off with that new moon, that black moon of December. There's a separate podcast there in case you missed it. We'll put it in the show notes. Great week to solve problems, really understanding being generous with yourself and creative with how you show up on yourself. That's the first week. Second week from January 6th to the 12th, it's confusing. It's testing you. It's making you scramble a little bit. Your thoughts run amok. You want to go into too many different directions. It's like just Captain Distraction week. really take the time to slow down, go and follow and gather information or energy by people that you really trust and really believe in, those that go deep, those that meet you where you are. Otherwise, stay focused on your own things and really follow your own energy. On the third week, we've got that's the 13th to the 19th. There's an uplift there, there's an uptick that really carries you through the rest of the month. So this one is filled with good luck. It feels like you can breathe again. It's a good week for sales and negotiation. Remember, we're still in a retrograde period. Things are going to take longer. It's better to rekindle relationships and to follow through on those things that we've already started than to start new things. But you know what? It's life. If there's something new that started, go with it. Just take your time with it. This is about relationships and not transactions. That fourth week, that 20th through the 26th, this is where really powerful forces come in. There is a little competitiveness that can get you off center, but if you've already like focused on you and walking your own path, you can just really pass you by. And then if we round out those last handful of days, the 27th through the 31st, this is another big, huge brush of like massive ideas coming in, epiphanies coming in, solutions coming in. And that really is a glimpse into the July timeframe. So perfect. If we look at the moon magic, major changes coming in with that full moon. That's during that confusing week of the 12th to the 16th. The full moon is on the 13th. It's really chaotic. Then for the new moon on the it's technically on the 28th. Some people are marking on the 29th. It depends on what your time zone is. This is really about the new era coming in. It's big opportunity. It's like we end the month with a bang in the best possible way. So yay, let's look forward to that. The magical tools coming in for the month are the card is deepen. It's a number 39. There's a 12. Looking at it, there's a 3 in that. When you do the numerology of the 3 plus 9 equals 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3. That's what you always boil down when you look at numerology. You're really trying to get it to its lowest common number, and that's all about creativity. And when you're thinking about deepening, it's like going beneath the surface to gather your energy and seek creative solution. The spirit animal is a vulture, and that sounds kinda yucky. I mean, honestly, when I picked out the image for it, it's like, "Ugh," but we don't wanna think about it like that. This is really about prioritizing things and not wasting anything, being really grateful for what we have, but expending and letting go of that which isn't ours. We do not wanna carry weighted energy within us anymore. We wanna let that go. The crystal is the crystal of pyrite. It's a prosperous stone. It's also called fool's gold. Think about that deepening. Think about that vulture card. Think about prioritizing. It's really about discerning what's real and what's not. And that's part of this pressurized power that the god of hell of Pluto and the god of war of Mars are really pressing us to see and do. It's hard for us to see clarity, especially that second week, but it's also hard. It's been almost impossible for the last 14 years because of where Neptune's been. That is going to change and shift at the end of March, and we have glimmers of being able to see clearly this month. So let's ask for that and intend that throughout the month. Really super helpful. If you're feeling fatigued and if you're feeling like, good God, we have just ended on this freaking 20s decade has been a lot. It's been too much. I have mental fatigue. I have energetic fatigue. Reach for the flower essence of quartz. It's a bright yellow flower and it can help uplift you. It can help refresh you. It renews you. It gives you hope when you feel like you are in despair and it's just too much, because that is true too. You can swallow them, you can drink them with water. They help your nervous system, they help your energetics for emotions, and they really just are like yoga in the bottle is what they're called. And so I always try to give you a Bach fluorescence because they are the ones that are most known, and it's BACH. And you can find them on Amazon. You can get them at Whole Foods. I think you still can. You can get them at your local health food store, your local, new age store. They are really super supportive and they're very gentle. So that just feels like that energy wants to be stirred up for you. Now, if you haven't taken that 12-question quiz at your Star Map to Success kimwoods.com. Go ahead and do that now, because your intuitive success signature forecasts or tips for the month are really important, because they give you more in-tune tips for you, even though I always give general ones as well. But wise strategist, you adore the planning and the strategy and the clear-mindedness of the first and the last weeks. The middle weeks are not your favorite, but just focus on the long term and take baby steps. Best way to get through the month. Intuitive visionary, opposite is true. You love the flow of ideas and innovations. You love being swept up, especially when the sun enters Aquarius on the 19th. Yet your distractions, this is where I'm saying Captain Distraction. If you fall prey to the distractions, you're just going to, it's a month, right? You're just going to pass through the month. And yet, why? Like, why do we want to waste a whole month? We really don't. So people are pushing you and pulling you. So ask yourself, does this have my best interest at heart? And then decide. Curating opportunities is really where you want to go. Creative, collaborative explorer, people are stepping all over you this month. You have got the brilliance. You have got the answers. You have the solutions that they seek, and yet they're just almost like sucking your life force out of you. And so for you to be owning yourself, saying no, to be really defining yourself and defining your power, this is an energy that's going to keep ramping up throughout the year. So let's enter this year on the best path, the best step forward. Ruling warrior, slow and steady wins the race. Even though you don't love it, you kind of hate it. But seeing beneath the surface, honestly, that message is for you. Opportunities are creative when you see beneath the surface. If you're going with the surface, you're going to be horrifically off track in July. Creative superstar, the last 2 weeks are more your speed. So just get through the first 2 weeks. Venus is moving into Pisces. She's sweet. She's loving. She's romantic. She's social. She's creative. She's pure magic. Dance with Venus this month. Honestly, wear Venus very intentionally. Loving alchemist, going deep is your jam. So you kind of love this. You can be the beacon that can help people see what's beneath the surface. And so own it. Get on a stage, talk about it, really shine your brilliance, because that's pure perfection for you. So for everybody, this is the month of January. This is the new year of 2025. We are moving into those very fiery energies. We know we're in uncharted territory. The stars are here to light our way. And when we know what's happening with them, that is that first step. When we really open ourselves up and open up our heart and our power, that's like the big, huge second step. But the big leap of faith, when we start using this information strategically, that's the difference between success and failure. So for everyone, happy January. Really opening up to how to be truly you to create huge opportunity is the bottom line of the month. So let's all go explore this. Let's make this the best month yet. As always, thank you so much for listening and sharing with friends. Subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a thing. Go ahead to my website at kimwoods.com/forecast so you can get your Star Strategy Center information. It's all held right there. You can bookmark it. If you like to read instead, go ahead and get your monthly Star Powered Planner. That's on my blog. That's in the show notes here. You can go ahead and bookmark that, or you can print it out, and you can really, really open up to your full potential, because that's what this is all about. Again, thank you so much for being here with me. I adore you, and happy, happy soul tidings.
Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more ways to use the stars strategically to align with your soul purpose, reclaim your power, and increase your prosperity. Please rate and review your favorite episodes, and remember to check out my website at kimwoods.com for my latest forecasts, articles, and offerings. To find out your intuitive success signature, take my 12-question Do You Know, Like, and Trust Yourself quiz and find out how you're living your stars at yourstarmaptosuccess.com. I've so enjoyed our time together, as it's filled with the power of the stars plus strategy to clear the pathway to your success. Until next time, happy soul tidings.